I'm really tiny over here. Good morning, early birds. Thank you so much for joining me. We are here getting really ready to go on our grammar review. You will be happy to know when I was working so hard yesterday again that I found a really great website to help me teach you how to diagram sentences. And there's a couple things about that. So as I was reading, it is exactly like I've been saying. It is not a necessity. You do not have to learn how to diagram a sentence. However, if you can, then you really know your 8 parts of speech. And even a little bit beyond that, which is what we're going to go into as well, which are objects, including direct objects and indirect objects. So I was debating, am I going to teach you how to diagram a sentence? Because it is complex. But to get rolling on it really isn't. Let me show you something if you don't mind. What I'm going to show you without my glasses on, and so I really have to squint. If I go like this without my glasses on, everything is 10 times more blurry. There it is. Okay. I think it's right here. Oh, again, I can't see anything. Okay. There's me again looking up close, but yeah, looking up Mississippi black coats. That has got a little bit of a weird history. Looking up Preston Brooks. What was that? Comparatives, leverage for this class. Oh, I was disgusted by that. More stuff. Talked about this in the Bookless classroom right there again. Ugh, I don't have the right one up. There it is. Okay. All this is being done really by the miracle of no glasses. I think you probably can see me, no? There we go. Let's try this one. Okay. So this gives you a little bit of an idea of diagramming sentences. Oh, no. These are objects, I see. That's not what I wanted. Look at all the stuff I look up. This is all in my downtime. Okay. Let's move this over just a little bit. And so here, it gives us so much information about the things, first of all, that we need to identify. So subject, noun, or noun form, which could be a pronoun, right? Predicate, verb, direct object, indirect object. So now, and those are nouns. So now we have parts of speech that we're familiar with, nouns, but we're using them in different ways. And apparently it's necessary to know about direct objects and indirect objects when we are diagramming a sentence. And again, the really important thing I think to me is well, if you don't need to diagram a sentence, why do you need to know about direct objects and indirect objects? No, it's actually vice versa, which means the other way around. All right. It's actually that you need to know about direct objects and indirect objects anyway, and they're not a part of speech. So it helps us to understand what is necessary in grammar to understand your direct. You do need to know your direct objects and your indirect objects. You do not need to know how to diagram a sentence. But in diagramming a sentence, we really learn about the last two, let's call them cousins of the parts of speech, all right? Our cousins of the parts of speech, cousins, close cousins of the nouns, direct objects and indirect objects, okay? So we have got then all of these steps that we need to take and know, and we know most of it. Preposition, modifier describes something. So those are adjectives and adverbs. Articles, we already know. Appositive statements, we do not know. Conjunctions, we know. Subordinate clauses. Conjunctions introduce a clause. It's important to know what clauses are. When we know and learn about the parts of speech, we don't learn what clauses are. When we learn how to diagram a sentence, we do learn all of these extra relatives of our parts of speech. All right? I just want to show you one more thing on this parts of speech. And so you could see there's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. There's our prepositional phrase. Step 5, there's our articles and adjectives. Step 6 are modifiers. And then we get all kinds of additional information now with our modifiers there. So all kinds of additional examples that we're getting with complex sentences. So actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I want, even though you're early birds, the very first sentence that I want to diagram is the very first sentence. Actually, we'll probably start with sentence number 2 of this article, and then we'll diagram sentence number 1 of this article. So sentence number 2, a sentence diagram is a visual representation of a sentence structure and its words, and its words functions. Yeah, well, probably that's just as difficult. A sentence diagram is a visual representation of a sentence's structure and its words functions. So I think number 2 is easier to diagram than sentence number 1. Diagramming a sentence is a great exercise to gain a deeper understanding of its grammatical structure. So what we're going to do next week, we're going to wrap up. I think we're going to wrap up what I really want to wrap up on grammar. There's a part of grammar that we haven't gotten to. We've talked about compound sentences. We're going to talk about compound sentences. We're going to talk about punctuation. There's a part of our grammar that we haven't gotten to yet that I want to get to. And that is, we've talked about prefixes and suffixes. It goes a little bit beyond that. That's where our root words are. So root words and the meanings of their Latin derivatives. That's the best I got. I don't know. Their Latin meaning. So we call it etymology. Where'd the word come from? Where'd that word come from? Where'd it come from? I want to know. That tells us a lot about the word, right? And this is very interesting because it tells us so much more about a meaning of the word. One of the words I always use as an example of this so that you kind of understand why I think it's important is when I was young, I was thinking of the word conscience when I was taking Espanol. And conscience has the word cone and science, right? Conscience, my conscience, cone and science, C-O-N. And the word I don't call it con because it's got a Latin derivative, which means in Spanish, it means with. So the word conscience, when you look at the root of it, and I don't have this according to the scientists, I have this according to Dr. Annette Feravich. So I did some cherry picking on this for sure. But with science. And so I think that's a wonderful understanding of your conscience. You cannot have a conscience based on only your feelings. You have to have a conscience based on fact, or based on science, based on your senses. What is really going on? Not some fake fairy tale that you serve yourself, right? So see how I think that's so important to understanding what your conscience is, which isn't an easy thing to understand, is it? What's your conscience, right? It tells you when you're doing something wrong. It makes you feel guilty or ashamed, right? When you do something wrong or embarrassing, right? Shameful. Makes you feel guilty. So, but when I look at the two words broken up with science, that tells me even a little bit more about conscience, doesn't it? It means I can't be willy-nilly about my conscience. That my conscience, I can't turn it on and off. It's actually based in some facts about things that I know, like the norms. What is good behavior or bad behavior? We know that. We learn that, right? But also, it must be evidence about whether I did something really wrong or not, right? That I know is wrong. Whether or not it follows the norms, what people normally do, right? Normally do. The norms are really the rules or regulations that we follow by society, right? We wouldn't run around without our pants on, right? That's a norm. Might be a law. I doubt it though, right? Because we can walk around with bathing suits, which is pretty much like underwear. Okay. See all the things we learn. And now what? Well, now I really do need to get my glasses. So just give me a minute. And I do want to say here, though, that I put this up there, and we flew by it before I got on. That I am coming to you on Mondays. I was also here last Friday. So I was here last Friday and Monday. No promises if I'm going to be here again on Friday or not. But tomorrow. But I am going to be here on Mondays. No promises about the time. I'm going to be here sometime on Monday. Maybe I'll do Monday afternoon. I think maybe I'll do Monday afternoon. I don't know. I actually like getting the stuff done in the morning and getting going in the morning. So I probably won't do it in the afternoon. Although it was 11 o'clock. And we did a really good show on hygiene. And so I wanted to do some extras besides just always cramming grammar down your throat in our early bird. All right. But I think it's really important as a teacher that I am, I can see myself like this because I'm way back there. As a teacher, it is important that you learn this much about grammar. It's really not at this age, the age group that I am targeting. There really isn't a whole lot more. Oh, there's that scary house. There really isn't a whole lot more that you really need to be learning about. Math for sure. And we can't get into math until we get some of this grammar stuff done. All right. So that's what I want to do but again, Monday show, I'll be on Monday. I'm not sure what time. I think I'd like to come on at 10:30 and not 11. I thought about it that day and decided what to do. So I had to put it all together. I think I did it the night before is when I thought about it. And doing it a couple days before that, but I didn't have the idea. Then I got the idea the night before, and then I was like, let's do it. We're gonna do it. Okay, so I have to get my glasses, but we're gonna do a grammar review today. Is what we're gonna do. So yeah, let me get my glasses for you because I don't want to be. It just isn't a good look. I was told stop squinting, Annette. Oh, you know what else I did? I forgot. I totally forgot. I got new, although I didn't put them on this one, I got new borders for my chalkboard. I'll show it to you in a little bit. Not right now. You'll see it. Hold on. Let me, my glasses. Okay, I'm back. No, really, I am. What? You can't see me? There I am. Okay, I actually put some of that face wash that I was telling you about yesterday I was just telling you about a minute ago from our hygiene on Monday. Not yesterday. On Monday. That face wash I just put on my lips. I do think it makes my older lips for older women. I do think it makes them look younger. I do know it makes them softer. And so if it makes them softer, I'd imagine it's working its job to make them look a little bit younger as well. Okay, so what we are going to do is a lot of review. Just exactly like what I said that we were going to do. All right? So this one is like right there, which doesn't need to be on my eyeballs, right? So here we have got the circle right there. Oh, let's get it right in your eyeballs. Oh, look, one circle, both eyeballs. Stop, Annette. Oh my gosh, you're so immature. Okay. All right, day 86 we are on. I am so happy. I don't have my chalkboard back here, but the reason why I don't have my chalkboard is I'm not sure. It's over there where I left it last. Parts of speech. I should actually print that out. I'm going to if I can. And then we'll have it up here in the background at all times. So, nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. We have learned them all. We know all the parts of speech. So here what I'm putting up is I'm going through our 101 grammar tips from Scholastic, right? And I'm showing you the day here. I went through and got the days when we talked about this. Now remember, sometimes I'm just starting to talk about it on that day, and then the next days, maybe I started talking about it more the day before. It might not exactly be on that day, although I'm pretty sure it is, because day 54, I was pretty popular with I was doing a lot of popular grammar things, right? So 54, know your nouns, tip number 12. We learned that on day 54. On day 54, remember, these are our older chalkboards. Tip number 13, pronouns are noun substitutes. We learned that on day number 54. On day 54, also we learned how to form plurals. This is not a part of speech, but I wanted to share with you a few other things that we were doing that are related to our parts of speech. Tip number 14, also we started talking about on day 54, but look for that later on, I'm quite certain, because we didn't get through nouns, pronouns, pronouns and verbs all on day 54. Tip number 14, verbs express an action or a state of being. And we showed some action verbs and some linking verbs as well. Tip number 17 on prepositions came on day number 79. So notice there's a lot of days between 54 and 79. Many of those days likely have to do with other things that we were doing. We were doing more science and we really interjected a lot more math as well. But you can see that that gave us a lot of time to cover different parts of speech when we were talking about grammar. Look for the chalkboards to see, right? And the names of the, well, those classrooms, that's not going to be up there. But look for the chalkboards with the name of the class and the topic and you on my websites, and you will, I don't think I have an early bird. Maybe I do. I should have an early bird. And you will be able to find out the days that we were talking about that, or somewhere close to the days we were talking about it. Day 80, we were talking about conjunctions, which I'll do that, which join words, phrases, and parts of sentences. Interjections we talked about on day 81. We had a great video on an interjection. An interjection shows strong feelings. It's followed by an exclamation point unless the feelings aren't as strong, and then it's followed by a comma. 81, tip number 15, adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. Day 83, tip number 16, adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They tell how, when, or where. Okay. That's all that I have on the slides for our review. Now let's get to our review sheets, all right? I gotta get my video capture device up here. No, that's not what I gotta get up here. I gotta get my window capture device up here. Okay. This is the one I wanted. That's an ad. Those are more adverbs there. I want to do this third grade grammar. There's a lot of stuff we've already done here, but before that, actually, I want to let's look at this for a second. Before we start going into our review, what this is this is something I found on Twinkle. It was a freebie, and I thought it was kind of cute for a freebie. And let's go make this just a little bit smaller for you. There we go. Okay, and you can see it's a pumpkin investigation. One of the things I liked about this, so if you are carving a pumpkin for the holiday season, for the fall, for Halloween, whatever you might be celebrating, what I liked about this is it's an investigation, but look at what we're doing. We are describing our pumpkin. Describing our pumpkin. And when we describe what we are, another word for describe is modify, right? Remember, modify is another word for describe. And so when we are describing our pumpkin, we are actually using, and a pumpkin is a what? What is a pumpkin? In our parts of speech, what is a pumpkin? Yes, exactly. A pumpkin is a noun. A pumpkin is a noun, right? So when we describe a noun, what part of speech are we using? Let's go ahead and see if I can't add. That part of speech. I went and I looked for it the other day and I couldn't find it, and I don't know why I couldn't find it. And it's got to be here. There it is. So, if the pumpkin is a noun and we're describing a noun, what part of speech are we using to describe the noun? What was that? You're kind of saying it quiet. You got to say it a little bit louder. Yes, exactly. An adjective. Very good. An adjective right there. An adjective modifies or describes nouns. So here we've got this little activity right here where we are using our adjectives. Is your pumpkin? My pumpkin is what? Small, medium, or large? My pumpkin has how many lines on it? So that tells you about the lines. The number tells you about the lines. Correct? Right? My pumpkin is blank cubes tall. Cubes, where are we? Where am I? I'm waking up. When am I waking up from this dream? I don't even know. Inches. How about we use inches, right? Or you can use cubes, whatever you want to. How many inches tall is your pumpkin? My pumpkin. And then here are other ways to describe it. Tall, bumpy, flat, fat, smooth, skinny, round, short, square. I said flat because sometimes pumpkins have a flat size too. Flat side too, right? Sometimes pumpkins have a flat side too. All right, predict. I like this part because what this part does for you is what does this say? There we go. What this part does for you is it really helps you with your, with your problem solving skills. When you are predicting what is going to happen, that helps you then anticipate that maybe you should be doing this, that, or the other thing, right? So I really like this part of this. So it seems like it's a very silly little freebie from Twinkle. You can see the name. No, you can't see the name. Yeah, you can see the name right there. Twinkle right there. So I got it from twinkle.com. And I really appreciate a lot of their worksheets. I just downloaded a whole bunch of them. They gave me 30 days free, and I just went, that's me downloading. So not in the, that way. Me downloading from the real way. I call the other thing downloading too. I did that this morning. Before my shower. Keep it clean, Dr. Feravich. Keep it clean. I'm telling you, I did. Okay, so I took that drink and I almost left. So predict. I like this. I predict my pumpkin will sink or float. And then you test it. So you make a prediction, and here's you as being a little scientist, a little itty bitty scientist you're being when you predict. So, will it sink or float? And did it sink or float? And that'd be kind of easy. Maybe it's like for, I don't know. Maybe it's what do you wish it would do? And then what will it do, right? I predict my pumpkin will have how many seeds? Now that's really interesting, I think, because I have no idea how many seeds. I maybe have an idea of how many seeds because we did count them once. We did. I know we did. Make a prediction. You think it's 1 million? You'll be there for a long time counting. Hope it's not. Cross your fingers. Hopefully it's not 1 million seeds. And then what about my pumpkin had how many seeds. So you're testing, you predict how many seeds, and then you count them. What a wonderful activity that you can do that also helps you with your what? With your counting as well. So I am really, it seems like a little exercise to be doing here, but I am really impressed with this little twinkle freebie. And now here we've got, I will carve my pumpkin like this. So you can actually think ahead if you want to and decide how you're going to carve your pumpkin. Now that might not look like your pumpkin because that to me looks like a pretty perfect pumpkin. And I rarely have been able to find a perfect pumpkin. But sometimes a pumpkin with a flat side actually is nice for a different kind of face, isn't it? And sometimes it's easier to carve. I don't know. What do you think about carving pumpkins? Do you like carving pumpkins? I have to say, I was not much of a fan of carving pumpkins. As a little kid, your parents always had to use a knife and basically carve the pumpkin. So zero fun. As an adult, I don't care anymore. But my boys did like carving pumpkins, and my husband used to carve the pumpkins with them because I did too. I mean, and then I would put the seeds in the oven so that they would have pumpkin seeds. So that was my job. The nurturing, feeding kind, right? We have nice fall aromas in our home. Okay. Now, I want to show you, before I get to that, before I get to our third grade, this is the one I think I want to show you. There we go. I want to get to something we have already done in the past. This is a worksheet that I got from education.com. I got it from education.com, this series of worksheets. You will see that it's a repeat of these worksheets in the third grade. This was a packet for first. This was a packet that I got. It doesn't even matter. What do you care? Do you care? Like, oh, Dr. Feravich, did you get that packet online? Was it free? Did you get it at Meijer? What? How are they duplicates? Is it from the same company? Okay, I'm sorry. So let me add. I'm going to change this preview. Oops, there, maybe you should see it. Okay, now we're starting with nouns or verbs, and we looked at this before. I'm not actually sure. I feel like we must have completed this before, but I'm not exactly sure if we have. So let's, oh, good. Write an N, yeah, we did. Write an N if the underlined word is a noun, a V if the underlined word is a verb. Most beetles eat plants. I can see a beetle eating a plant, so I know eats is the verb, right? So we did this already. This is a review. I want you to do this. I'm not going to be telling you, what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the V for the very first one. That one is a verb. I'll even make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have the answer for that one. Now it's up to you to go through the rest. So noun or verb, an N or a V, right? Let's go ahead and let's put both of those up there. So we've got both of them available so we know what we're doing. All right, so we've got a noun or a verb, and then just go ahead and place the N or the V as appropriate. Marlene produced a lot of milk every morning. You might look for other things like prepositional phrases, and then that helps you also know noun or verb. The chick is looking for its mother. What is mother? My goldfish loves to eat. What is loves? A frog hops from one lily pad to another. What is hops? Seahorses are fast swimmers. Some snakes, what is are? Some snakes lay their eggs in the ground. What is eggs? Okay, so that is our worksheet for noun or verb, N or V in the square. 2 parts of a sentence. Identify the subject and the predicate in each sentence. Underline the subject once, underline the predicate twice. We must have done this, and it looks like I cannot get that line off of there. I can no longer pick that. Oh, I know what happened here. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Oh. Yeah, we did strike through that sentence because we didn't. I don't know why we did. Maybe we didn't. Oh, there we go. Let me see something. Oh, I did it. Look at that. I did it. Yay. Okay. I think we just didn't do that. Every complete sentence has 2 parts, a subject and a predicate. The subject is what or whom the sentence is about. The predicate is the part that tells something about the subject. These really are complete subjects or complete predicates is what they are. And these were my directions that I gave you. Draw a line to separate the subject from the predicate. Highlight the subject in green. Highlight the predicate in yellow. And that actually, again, are complete subjects because children is the subject of that third sentence. Children is a subject of that third sentence. So why is the children highlighted? Because it is the complete subject. So I am actually going to put that in there. And that's really what it needs to be. Do we have the whole sheet there? There we go. I suppose that's good. So you can see we did some of those, but we didn't do all of them, right? So we used those instructions that I gave you. That was the reason why I crossed out, underlined the subject once, underlined the predicate twice. We highlighted them. It was much easier for me to do. You can see in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th sentence, the bicycle needs new tires. I have the complete subject highlighted already in green. So we did some of these, many, many more for you to do by yourself. I left it up there if we did it because I like the fact that we got through so much work here. I built a sandcastle at the beach. We had a picnic in the park. My favorite color is orange. Ming bought a new pair of sneakers. 2 cats chased each other across the street. Jeff is reading a fantasy book. Remember that we can also identify a lot of other things like articles and prepositions we can identify, right? Okay. Take this down a bit. Move it over just a bit. There we go. Same thing here. A sentence must have a subject and a predicate. The subject states who or what is doing the action. The predicate states what the subject is or does. Here we have the example. This is what the cat does. The cat meows. The complete subject is the cat. The predicate is meow. We call it the predicate and not the verb here because we're talking about the complete predicate. So even though in that sentence where it says the cat meows, the complete predicate is only one word. Very often our complete subject might only be one word, but we don't often see the complete predicate as being one word, right? But here, the cat meows, we have a predicate that is only one word. Once again, when we're talking about the underlining the subject and predicate here, we are talking about the complete subject and the complete predicate. Let's put that in there again so that we really, really know what we're talking about. Okay, so our complete subject and complete predicate. All right, let's see what we did here. We did the first one, and we did it just like, well, we did underline, draw one line under the subject and two lines under the predicate in each sentence. We also used the line here to divide the subject and the predicate. Again, a very, very good habit to be able to identify complete subjects and complete predicates, which helps us identify our subjects and our verbs, and then also helps us with the very first step in diagramming our sentences. The weather was hot. I saw the albino crocodile. The elephants squirted water with their trunks. We walked through the bird exhibit. The flowers smell nice. The mail, and you see we did that one too. The mail carrier delivers the mail. Jimmy won the marathon race. Tina and I are going to the library. A dog barked at the squirrel. You might have some questions about some of the sentences you see here, and you're beginning to get those wheels turning about the different parts of speech. What a wonderful thing to be doing on a Thursday morning this early. Early birds, wow. Okay, these were predicate adjectives. A predicate adjective is an adjective that describes or modifies the subject of a sentence. Predicate adjectives are always linked to the subject by a linking verb. And this was important here because we had to be able to recognize, sorry about that, that's not what we want to do. We had to be able to recognize the linking verb, right? And that makes it different than what other kind of verb did we have? What other kind of verb besides a linking verb? Well, an action verb, right? And this is very interesting because we've got, we highlighted in green the complete subject, right? Sometimes in number 3, the complete subject is one word. Often it can be. But often it is also more than one word. The interesting part here is that I can actually see somebody's smell, can't I? I can. I think that's an action verb. But the idea here is that you're getting used to looking for what the action is doing or saying, right? About the subject in this case. So what is the action in this case saying about the subject? And this helps us see all of these parts of speech in in different ways, which when we come at a topic, here's the topic. Here's our topic, candles. When we come at the topic in a lot of different ways, right? The color, the smell, the container, the size of the wick, right? The consistency or amount of air in the wax. There are a lot of different ways that we can describe this noun, candle. Sometimes the verb links an adjective to our subject. Just a different way of looking at subjects and predicates and linking verbs and action verbs that help us understand grammar just in a little bit different way. Okay? All right. Let's get that back up there so I don't start talking without it. So, what did we do? We highlighted in green the complete subject. We underlined our verb. And then what we did was we circled the adjective that was describing our noun. What is the noun it's describing? I think that might be a really good thing for you to remember. So, let me get my arrow here. Let me change my arrow's color so that you can see it better. So, what does delicious, what is the subject noun that verb is describing? What is the subject noun this verb is describing? I can change it and do it like this too. There we go. Delicious is describing lasagna, right? So that's a great way to make sure you understand what's being linked and what it's linking to. Remember that this link really does have to link to a noun because it's a predicate adjective, and predicate adjectives describe the subject of a sentence. All right? Predicate adjectives describe, let me see if it's going to let me highlight that. Probably not. The subject of a sentence. Okay, we're not going to worry about it. So, when we say the breeze feels nice, nice is our adjective describing what? Describing the breeze. Right? Tomatoes become dry. Dry is our adjective describing tomatoes, our subject. Same thing, right? So you can go ahead and finish this up. The music is loud. Jeff's fingers turn blue in the cold weather. The pillow looks fluffy. Your backpack appears heavy. Mary's sweater turned pink in the wash. My dog is hungry. The apple tasted tart. For those of you who are struggling with your reading, what I would like you to do is really read these sentences along with me. See if you can't read those sentences on your own, no matter what age you are. If you're struggling with your reading, these are great ways for you to improve your reading. Go along and read with me. So we're not only learning grammar, we actually are improving our reading skills as well. Present simple tense. We did this one already, and then we went back and we started typing the words. So I read, so we're using present tense of the verb read. So is it read or reads? I read or I reads. We always get up early in the morning, or we always gets up early in the morning. We had this conversation on making verbs plural when we talked about our verbs. So that's probably right around day 60 is what I would guess, maybe when we were doing this worksheet. So you can go through and take a look at, we finished this worksheet, but here we have the same worksheet, the same exercise, and we didn't do this one. So you can do this one, obviously, then on your own. Blow that up just a hair. Okay. She has dinner with her grandparents every Monday, or she have dinner with her grandparents every Monday. In this case, if you are around individuals who really do speak grammatically correct, you can know the correct answer here just because you know it sounds correct. Gemma enjoy going to school, or Gemma enjoys going to school. So remember, our verb choice here for the present tense is based on whether or not our subject, our noun, our subject of the sentence is singular or plural. That tells us what to do with that verb. And you might be able to pick up the rule as you're doing this because you know what sounds correct. Her dogs her dogs bark at the postman when he comes, or her dogs barks at the postman when he comes. She has to tiptoe so her friend doesn't wake up. She has to tiptoes so her friend doesn't wake up. My mother shop at the same stall every time. My mother shops at the same stall every time. Where's she shopping? A horse barn? Patricia and her friends love to play at the park. Patricia and her friends loves to play at the park. Nazreen receive money packets during Hari Raya. I'm not sure what that is. It sounds like a celebration though. Nazreen receives money packets during Hari Raya. Ms. Sayaza greet the children every morning. Ms. Sayaza greets the children every morning. There should be a period after Ms. That's not punctuated correctly. Kim swim at the school's swimming pool. Kim swims at the school's swimming pool. They usually listen to music while cleaning. They usually listens to music while cleaning. I always listen to music when I'm cleaning. And now we have more subject-verb agreements. We actually did do this from another worksheet, which is here. So I'm going to go to this worksheet just because now we've got some other answers that you've already done not necessary for you to do get some more answers here, right? So we're looking for that same page that we just had. And there it is. There it is. Isn't that it? Yeah, there it is. So we did this first one here, but we didn't do the rest of them. So remember, there is the rule there. So subject verb agreement. Let's learn about subject and verb agreement. The subject and verb must agree in number. Both must be singular or both must be plural. For example, the dog chases the cat. It's a singular subject, but it has an S on the end of the verb, almost making the verb look plural, doesn't it? That's the rule there. When the subject is singular, as in the first case, the dog, there is an S on the end of the verb chase, and it becomes chases. When the subject is plural, dogs, the verb chase has no S. The dogs chase the cat. So there are your sentences for subject-verb agreement. My dinosaur leap onto the trampoline, or my dinosaur leaps onto the trampoline. Those cars make a loud sound as they race around the track, or those cars makes a loud sound as they race around the track. And again, if you look at the rule up there, that's showing right there, singular and plural, this will help you understand the rule instead of just simply relying on, does it sound right? By knowing the rule, even when it doesn't sound right, maybe because somebody never spoke it grammatically correct in front of you, you will know how to speak it correctly. My dinosaur, did I say this? Those cars make, did I ever say that? Yes, I did. One of his sisters play the trombone. One of his sisters plays the trombone. The subject there is one. The subject there is one. You need to know what the subject is, and that one is a little bit more difficult to understand. The subject in this sentence is one. Of his sisters is a prepositional phrase, so it is not the subject of the sentence. So, is our subject singular? Change that to blue like we have the other one. Is our subject singular, as it is in this case, dog? Or is our subject plural, as is the case here, dogs? So here is our subject one. Is that subject singular or plural? Well, that's pretty easy, isn't it? So one play the trombone, or one plays the trombone. Sisters is not the subject. I drink milkshakes to cool down on a hot summer day, on hot summer days, or I drinks milkshakes to cool down on hot summer days. Our sandwiches taste so delicious, or our sandwiches tastes so delicious. Mrs. Lane, my teacher, want us to finish our homework before the big game. Mrs. Lane, my teacher, wants us to finish our homework before the big game. And there is part 2. Circle the correct verb and complete the sentence. The elephant bring or brings. What did the elephant bring or brings? Sophia win or wins. What did Sophia win or wins? All the princes and princesses eat or eats. What do they eat or eats? Okay, folks, we went extra long. I forgot we're 45 minutes and we went a full hour today for early birds looking at our grammar review sheets. We're going to do grammar next week again because we've got punctuation to do next week and we also want to finish up this review. So we're finishing up this review. We've got to verbs. We still have a review to do for adverbs, adjectives, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Most of those won't take quite as long, especially considering the real thorough job we did on adjectives and pretty thorough job that we did on adverbs as well. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. I'm the teacher. Thanks for joining me here in an extra long, extra intense grammar week here in the classroom. Thanks.